Good morning. We are going to take a look at using NoodleTools as a resource for creating a bibliography. It also has additional features that can help you with the research process, but today we are just going to look at how to make a bibliography using NoodleTools. So first you need to go to noodletools.com and go to their login page. I am assuming that you already have a login. If you don't, then you will need to create an account and register as a new user. Students, you have already done that, and so here you are going to put in your user login, which should be the same as your email address, and then whatever password you created to log in. And that will take you to the NoodleTools kind of landing page. If you have already created some projects, you will see a full list of the projects that are active. These are all of my kind of example bibliography projects that I have created for my classes. Say you are starting a new research project, it has just begun, you will want to go to Add New Project. And this is where you kind of set the citation, style, and level for your project as well as your project title. So for this, let's say we are researching the water cycle. You will add your project title and choose the citation style that is appropriate for you. Your teacher has already told you probably which you need to use. MLA tends to be used for the humanities, including language arts. APA tends to be used for sciences. And then Chicago Turabian tends to be used for kind of social studies or history. And then hit submit, and you will see that that project will be added to the projects list. We check back. There we go. So water cycle is the new project that I just created. And it also indicates kind of the one that is open in the program. So if I go to dashboard and I want to see kind of some of the settings about my project, you can add information about your project details. You know, if there is a research question or a thesis, you can do that. You can also, and this might be helpful for group projects, you can also add students to collaborate on a project. So you know, if you're doing a group project, you want to add your other group members. They can have full collaboration, they can add sources, etc. So that's a very handy tool. But we are just focusing on how to create the bibliography, so please go to the Sources tab. And since this is a new project, I don't have any sources. So I need to start adding the citations for the resources that I used for my research. So you're going to go up to Add New Source, and I have to choose kind of what is this type of citation. Was it a website? And if you click on website, you see that there are even more options. Was it something that I had in print or in hand? So books, journals, etc. Let's go ahead and choose website. So most likely you have at least one or two websites that you used for your research. So go ahead and select website, and most likely it is a web page. Some other options might be, if you had a newspaper article, And this is a good lesson if you select the citation and it's not the correct one. So for example, I didn't use a newspaper. I wanted to create a citation for a website. There is the ability to change that format right here. And if you had entered any information, it would automatically have saved it. So here we go. We're going to add our URL. So let's see if I use the Chesapeake Bay Field Guide as a resource, which many of you did for your ecology project. You would navigate to the actual page that you used for your research. So in this case, this is kind of a landing page for all of the bird species. But if I was researching the American black duck, I would want to have information from this page in particular, okay? So the URL is the link, the website link that would take you to this exact page. So I'm going to copy that and add it here. All right, so our URL shows up right there. For date of publication, if you can find it, that's great. Very often you won't have that information on a web page, but you should have the most recent date of access. So handy tool, you can just click on today. So if you're doing this in process of your research, which you should be doing, not waiting until the very end, then you would put in the actual day that you were recording notes. All right. So now you kind of have to become a detective. So, we need to see, is there an author? In this page, I know for a fact that there isn't an author on these entries, but we can double check. So typically if there was an author, it would be listed at the top or perhaps at the bottom of the notes, but it doesn't look like there's any information about the author or person who wrote that information. So we will leave it blank, but you do need to include the title of the web page. So that would be the American Black Duck. And a very handy tool is that there will be suggestions that are made for formatting. We will keep the American capitalized, but I will lowercase black and duck. So you do need to have the title of the web page. That is kind of the specifics of the page that you are on. And then the other thing that it asks for is the name of the website. And so that is kind of the home site or the home page that is hosting your web page that you got your information from. So in this case, it is the Chesapeake Bay program. So go back to NoodleTools, and then I will write Chesapeake Bay program. Now, a window does come up that says normally leave this blank. I think it's a good idea to include this information just because some of the websites that we use, it doesn't necessarily really clearly indicate what the host is for your website. So go ahead and include that information, and then once you're done, go ahead and hit save. So after hitting save, you can see that our citation is listed in our project. So as we go through and we add new sources, they will all be listed here on this page. You can do things like view the live web page. So if you want to go directly to that page, you can click this and it'll open your resource. So this is handy while you're in the process of researching because you can go back and forth, and NoodleTools kind of serves as the place to store all of the information that you're using while you are researching. So let's add one more source. So go up to new source again. I'm going to show you the formatting for a print book. So if I was using a textbook or a reference book, I would choose print or in hand and then choose book. And here we have the information for our printed books. So if you are using just a chapter or a section, there is an option to enter information just about that section title or type of chapter. I will just show you the book itself, the book format. Obviously, you do need to have the author's name. And you do want to choose their role. So if it was an author, if it was an illustrator, an editor, we want to make sure that that is clear. All right, I am just making this up at this point. Then you're going to add the title of the book. You are only going to capitalize the first letter of the first word in the title. So like I said, these little pop-up windows are very handy tools for formatting. So let's say Habitat of the American Black Duck. All right, and once again, you see that it shows it flags the capitalization of these terms. So I can change that. Great. But because American is a proper noun, it will ask me to capitalize that again. Okay, so if it is part of a volume, so say if it is volume 1 of 5, you're going to put 1. The publisher name, let's see, Baltimore Publishing. Again, this is fictitious information. And then the year that it was published, let's say 2018. Publication city, again, making it up, Baltimore, Maryland. And if it is a first edition, you just leave it blank, but if maybe the book has been revised and reprinted, then you can include the edition information, but most likely the books that you'll be using won't need that. And then we are ready to go and we hit save. And once again, we have the information about our book citation. So it has the author's name, the title of the book, and then where it was published and its date. All right. So those are the basics on how to add sources. If you have some other sources or formats that you might come across, things like a film or a video recording might be something that you use, an interview, maybe a work of visual art. All of those have particular formats and information that you should include in your citation. I recommend just asking your teacher if you need support. When you are ready to export or print your bibliography, you go up to print/export and you have a couple of options. I really like having my students export to Google Docs because then they can add their name or any other information that you might require for handing in work. You do need to allow NoodleTools to communicate to your school account if you're using a Gmail or another Google account. But here we go. This is my completed bibliography or references page. I can add my name at the top and the date if that is warranted. And then I'm ready to print and hand it in. And those are the basics of using NoodleTools to create a bibliography. Like I said, there are some other resources or tools that you can use in NoodleTools. As a reminder, when you are creating a bibliography, just make sure that you are looking for kind of these key information pieces. For a website, making sure you have the URL or the address, the name of the page, the name of the organization, as well as the date accessed. Most likely you will not find the author or date created, and that is okay. For books, you definitely need the title, the author or authors if there's more than one, and then also the publisher name, location, and publication date. And that is about it on the basics on using NoodleTools. And good luck with your research.